All right, here we go with the house modeling, and I'm going to be using this image. And if I haven't sent it to you, I will send it to you when I send you the link for this video. I'm going to use it as a bit of a reference, but it's not going to be perfect because this is not a perfectly orthographic view, and we'll probably deviate from it a little bit anyhow. But what I've done is I brought in the reference. In case you don't know how, it's Shift-A, image, reference, and then you just search for it, and I brought it in. And with it selected, I pressed S3 to scale it 3 times. All right, because it's a little bit smaller when you bring it in. And I also moved it back along this green axis, along the Y. Here, let me switch this back. Along the Y axis, just so it's not in the way of our 3D cursor, which is still right in the middle where we're going to start modeling from. All right, so we'll do what we can here. My screencast keys are on at the bottom as well, so you can see that. And we're going to start by modeling this piece, and then we're going to copy it over to here. We're going to shrink it a little bit because this one is narrower. And then we'll do this piece, and we'll just see how far we get. So to do this, I'm going to start with a cube. I'm going to press Shift-A, Mesh, Cube. Take that. I'm going to go into Edit mode, actually, and I'm just going to just press G and move it over and sort of get it roughly in line. And then, as you can see, it's, the image isn't perfect, so that's why we're just going to follow this as best we can. I'm in edit mode right now. I'm going to press Z and choose wireframe. And by the way, of course, as you can see, I'm using a slightly different version of Blender, so I hope that doesn't throw you off too much. If you have any problems, just let me know. But I mean, most of the stuff is the same. So what I want to do is, I'm probably going to go around there anyhow. And so what I'll do, let me just think about this for a minute. I think that's probably an okay width. And so I'm now going to just go Control R and drop an edge loop in there. And it's not exactly centered on this, again, because I think the diagram is a bit off. So let's just do it. So let's press 1. That'll bring us into vertex mode, or you can click there. Select this vertex and this one, and let's go ahead and start. It's a cube. It's not just a plane. It's got some actual depth to it. So let's do that again. Instead of just selecting the vertex, I'm going to press B, and I'm going to draw a box, or just hold Shift and draw a box, and that should get the front and the back ones. All right. With that done, I'm going to pull this down and roughly follow this. What I'm really looking at more is that this is kind of straight and at the same distance, because I'm not exactly on the diagram itself. So I'm going to box select here. I'm going to hold Shift and I'm holding the left mouse button and boxing there. I'm just going to pull it down to about there. So that's going to be the size of the piece that I'm going to make. I'm not really going to worry about the length of it at this point, although I might press 3 for face selection, select this face and this one, and pull it back a bit. I'm not going to see it from the back, but we'll think about that later if we need to. All right, back into 1 for front view. I'm going to wireframe and just have a look at this. I can press A to select it so we can just see. So it's roughly where I want it on the bottom. I can always adjust that later. What I really want to do is make the roof now. Okay, so back into solid view. Here's what we're going to do. 3 for face selection, or click there. Select this and this, and we're going to separate this out. We're going to press P and choose the first option, separate by selection. Go back in object mode. This is now a separate piece from this one. So we can use this to make the roof. All right, go back into front view, go into edit mode, and A to select it all, and we have this. All right, I'll go back into wireframe. I'm going to press E and left click, and then Alt S and hold Shift as I push up. Shift makes it go a little bit slower, and just get something that kind of resembles this. You'll notice that this piece comes off on an angle, okay, pretty much right at the corner, which is very similar to this, but I think that this really needs to actually come out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press 3 and select that face. And if I look, there's no arrow going directly out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to normal, and now that face has this blue arrow in the normal direction, like straight out. So I'm just going to pull this down a little bit so that it sort of clears the corner. I just think it makes a bit more sense. And I'm going to do that here as well. And they may not be exactly equal, but that's good enough. So we now have our roof and our main body, but The roof, of course, overhangs. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to turn this back to global. Press 3 for face selection and select this face and hold shift to select that one. And I'm going to pull it forward a little bit like that, as much as you want, as much as you think you need to. We can do more on that if we need to. And we could do the back as well, but chances are I'm going to be deleting the back stuff. And so I may go ahead and do that right now. Select this face and this one. And you know what? I'll pull them out just so that they're a little off this one. X faces. And that means the back of the house, I'm going to select those two faces and X faces as well. Now I'll be getting rid of the floor eventually as well. And so possibly I'll do that right now. All right, so this is what we have. We're going to put on a bevel in a bit. I think I'll save that for the moment. So we have this piece and it roughly lines up with our building and it should look okay on its own. So I'm going to select the roof and this one and I'm just going to duplicate them. Shift D to duplicate and slide it over here. And then we'll go into wireframe so we can see. And I'm going to, if I actually, let me go back into solid view and make sure that this and this is selected. Okay, both of them are selected. Go to edit mode and A to select it all, 1 to look from the front, and Z wireframe. Now I can just center this a little bit more, and I'm going to go ahead and press, let's see what we should do. I want to leave it the same height, so I'm just going to press SX, scale it in the X, and pull it down so it's something like that. And it roughly matches the diagram. So we've got 2 of these things. Now, one thing I should mention is if we look at the roof, this one angles out. This one is straight. In fact, I hope I have that there. I can just come to my reference image there. See the way this one is straight? And again, this diagram is not perfectly straight on because you can see this dark area here and you don't see it there. So the house is a little bit tilted. And that's another reason why we'll be off the reference. But or angled out, straight, straight, angled out. And that's so that it can sort of join this piece and it looks, continuous or relatively continuous. So if I come back to Blender and I look from the front, what I want to do is I want to straighten this piece out. So I'm going to go into edit mode and press, actually I want to be in this object here. Press 1 for vertex selection and I want to be in wireframe. I want to box select this. All right, so I'm just actually, I can probably just drag a rectangle around it and that will get the points from the front to the back. If I just pull them in to straighten this, notice how the roof sunk down here. This line sinks down and gets thinner, and that's not right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press G and then G again, GG, which is edge slide. Watch what that will do. I'm going to press GG and then I'm just going to pull it. See that yellow line? It's constraining the vertices to the angle that it's already at. So I'm going to do that and get it roughly straight. I can then box select these. I just pressed B actually and drew a rectangle. And I can make sure they're perfectly straight by pressing SX, scale X, 0. And they were pretty good. And again, I'm off the diagram a bit because I pushed this out past the wall here, and I just thought that would look better. So you can see what I've done there. I've straightened that edge out. And I need to do that on this one as well. So I'm going to select the roof, go into edit mode and wireframe, deselect. I want these ones and I want them in line with these. So I'm going to press GG and just pull until it looks pretty straight. And then I'll grab them both and I'll go SX0. And that moved a small amount. I now have straight ends, up and down, and my angle, which is what I wanted. All right, so let's go on by creating this. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take this house here. Now, the fact that this is overhanging may have an influence now that I think about it on this, but it might look all right. So let's take both of those anyhow. I'm going to go into edit mode. I like to do it in edit mode. I'm going to look down from the top. I'm going to Shift D to duplicate, and then I'm going to rotate 90. Then I'm going to pull this over like this till it's roughly in the middle. All right. And then I'm going to SX, scale in the X, and just keep pulling until the roof hits. And I think I probably need to lower the roof just a little bit. And I'll actually have to do that, just get it exactly between them. SX, I'm going to scale it out a bit more, just so that it fits a bit better. Maybe what we'll need to do, let's try this. If I want to get it to hit this point exactly on both sides so that it looks right. See, this one's a little bit lower. And that's because it's not, extending out as much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select the roof and this and go into edit mode and select a little bit of this. Go press 3 for face selection. Select that, and then go Control L. That will select everything that's linked. I'm going to break this out. P, separate by selection. And we'll figure out how far back to put it in a bit. Now this is now a separate object. So I want to come in here and select this as well. And what I'm going to do is go into edit mode and wireframe, 1 for vertex selection, and I'm going to box select all of this stuff here. We'll try it this way. And you can see it's at the right height, but it's not hitting this. I'm going to switch my snap here, which is on this white square. I'm going to switch this to vertex. And then I'm going to, let's see, what axis? X. I'm going to press GX, start pulling over, and hover my mouse over this point while I'm holding Control. All right, so I'll do that again. Say it's there. GX, pull, press down Control, and hover over there. I've snapped it to that point. I'm going to do the same on this side. Just box select all of this stuff. See, it's too far, this one. Pull it back. You can pull the arrow if you want, or GX. Hold Control over that point. I now have this perfectly touching there. But I feel like it's a little bit weird. So I'm not sure if this is right, but I'm going to press 2 for edge selection and select that edge. And just push it down just a little bit, and it'll be equal on both sides, and I think that'll look a little bit better. All right, now how far back to have this? All right, we can see a little bit of a distance here. I'm going to come to my references, and I'm just going to look at this one. All right, you can see this distance here between where this part is, and let's go back to here. I think I could come back a little, so I'm going to select the roof and that, and I'm just going to pull it back in the Y, something like that. We like it. I think that looks okay. And again, we're not worrying about the back. I mean, I could get rid of faces. I'll deal with that later. Let's make sure that we're saving. Now, because this is embedded into this, select this, go into edit mode, press 3 for face selection, and we can get rid of any extra faces. Did I already get rid of that? I guess I did. Yeah, okay, because I turned it. All right, this one, I'm looking for these faces on the side that are part of the ends. But you see, we got rid of this, but we didn't get rid of the front. So the front was here, and this is the back. We don't need those. They're hidden. You'll never see them. They're a waste, so get rid of those. I can't get rid of this one here, which seems like it's inside because it extends out, so that's fine. Okay, let's make sure we save. So we've got the basis of our roof there without this stuff on top. We're not going to worry about that yet. I think I will go ahead and do the frame of the window, and then we'll come back and look at some of that. So I want to get this right in the middle, so I'm going to select here, and I'm going to select this edge that's in there. So I'm going to press 2 for edge selection, select it, and then Shift S, cursor to selected. That'll bring my 3D cursor there. So when I bring another object in, it'll go right there. And the object I'm going to bring in is going to be a circle. So Shift A, mesh, circle. And then you can decide how many vertices you want. The default is 32, and I actually think I may, you know what? Maybe we'll go for 20. Should I go for 24, or do we want this nice and smooth? Let's go for 32 and see how it works. All right, it's not going to be low poly. Go into edit mode and 1 for vertex selection. That way you can see your points. It's just a little bit easier to see. S to scale it down. And let's go into the wireframe. And I'm going to rotate X 90 and just start pulling this down. And once again, we won't be perfectly on the diagram, but that's fine. We'll just wing it, all right? So get a circle that you like, and then press B and box or border select the bottom half of the circle, X vertices. Delete those vertices. Now select this one and press E to extrude and pull down to the bottom, pretty much down there. We can pull this further down or less far down if we want to. I need to actually select it and just move it out a little bit so I can see it. Now I'm going to select this vertex and this one and press F to make a face. So A to select it all, and then F to make a face to fill it in. Let's go back into wireframe, and this is what we have. Okay, now to make the frame, I'm really looking at just this part here, not the centerpiece. I may scale it in the X just a little bit. It will change the curvature slightly, but that's okay. And I probably shouldn't move it. All right, let's just leave it there. I'm going to press I for inset, hold shift, and start pulling my mouse in. And that's giving me that thickness there. And again, we're off the diagram, but that's just the way it is. This is what we have. All right, I'm going to press X faces and just get rid of that. Select it all by pressing A, and let's press E to extrude, a gesture backwards to give this some thickness. We don't need these faces back here, so with that still selected, press X faces to get rid of the faces we don't need. Okay, I can take this now and I can slide it back and make sure it makes contact, something like that. That's good enough for now. And we have this. Now it doesn't necessarily touch the bottom here, but we may be adjusting the height of this and the height of this, so we won't worry. I mean, we could come in here if we wanted to, go into edit mode and wireframe, just box select there. We could take this and we can move it. So you know what, just for now I'll move it down, but we may be adjusting this stuff later. So okay, now I need to make this piece in the middle here, and I think the way I'll do this, how do we want to do this? Well, maybe I'll use a separate piece. Let's select it all in edit mode. Shift S, cursor selected. Make sure my 3D cursor is right in the middle of this thing, not necessarily in the middle of the wall, although hopefully. Okay, back into object mode, Z wireframe, so we can see the thickness. I'm going to bring in a plane. Shift A, mesh plane. Go into edit mode and S to scale. Scale it until you feel it's about the thickness of this, which is essentially about the thickness of this. And we could have done it by copying this, but I decided not to do that. So let's rotate X 90, be a little bit easier to see. And I might scale it a little bit. Okay. Grab the top vertices, pull them up until they're sort of inside this. Grab the bottom vertices. Pull them down until they're inside the bottom. We can now come back into solid view and we'll see we have this. We need to give this some thickness. But first I'm going to pull it forward, but I don't want it right in line with this. I want it a little bit back. It'll look a little bit nicer. GY, if there's a bit of distance. E to extrude, and then we're going to pull back in the Y. GY and pull. Something like this. Let's get rid of that back face. X faces, we don't need that. There are other faces we can get rid of though, up at the top here. If I go into wireframe and I press 3 for face selection, and I can't see it very well, but there's a face up here that's on the inside. We don't need that, that'll cause us problems. X faces, get rid of it. Same thing on the bottom. Select that face, X faces. Now go back into solid view. Okay, now we're going to join this in a minute, but select both of them and press the slash key. It's under the question mark. That'll just isolate that. Notice we've gotten rid of a bunch of faces on the back. We're going to bevel this, but just before we do, let's have a look at the polys. Let's click here on the overlays, find face orientation, and it's red. So select it all and press Alt-N, recalculate outside. Now it's blue. So the polys are facing the right way. And you're going to have to do that periodically. All right. So we're going to bevel this now by hand. We're not going to use the bevel modifier. So go into edit mode and press 2 for face edge selection, sorry. Select this edge and this edge. So those two edges there. Getting close, press Control B, hold Shift and pull, and there's two edges. Roll your mouse wheel up one, so there's three edges in there. Come back, and that's beveled. And that's what we want. We don't want these sharp edges. Right now you can see the edges not bad because I've got the cavity shader on. If I turn that off, you know, it doesn't look that good, but this one still catches some light. That's why we want to bevel it. I'm going to put the cavity shader back on, though. It looks a bit better. Now we're going to take this, and first of all, we're going to come down here to these diagonal edges, 2 for edge selection, Shift and Alt, and click that. And that'll select it all the way around, except there's nothing at the back. Do the same on this one, and we're going to give this a small bevel, not too much. Control B, pull. It will remember that you used 3 last time, so just do something like that. See, there's 3 lines here. Okay, good. Now that gives it a little bit of a curve, looks a little bit nicer. Shift Alt and click this edge, and then just double check that it goes all the way around and you're not missing some parts. Okay, Shift Alt and click the inner one, and that should select it all as well. And then find a position that you can see. Press Control B to bevel and pull. Sometimes, actually, I had another edge selected by accident. Shift Alt and click there. Control B, pull. Sometimes if you're holding Shift, it'll go too small. Get yourself a bevel like that. I guess I wanted to bevel both. So I'm going to select that and bevel that. Whether you do them together or separate, doesn't matter. Now you've beveled the edges. So if I come and shade smooth, it looks like this. And there may be some shading errors in it. If you see some weird shadows and it just doesn't quite look right, it looks almost kind of sickly, then what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to join these two together. Control J, so that's one object right now. And then I can come over here to my modifiers, and my weighted normal is right here. You may have to search for something called weighted normal. And then there's a little warning here. You have to have auto smooth. My auto smooth for this version of Blender is down here under normals. Yours is probably right click. You choose auto smooth and just watch the model. And that's changed the shading. Slash key to bring everything back. And we've got that there. Now we're going to need a pane of glass underneath that for this stuff. So to do that, let's just focus on the window again. Slash key. Come in here and Shift Alt and click this edge. And we can do it a couple of ways. Let's duplicate it. Shift D to duplicate it, pull it out. P to break it out, and take that and press F to make a face, and then just pull it in, you know, part way, like something like that. But it may be flipped, so go to face orientation. You see it's red. For just a single plane, you'll have to go in edit mode, actually with it selected, actually just that selected, Alt N and flip. And now it's blue and everything's facing the right way. Now I'm going to take this and this, both pieces. You have to be back with everything. I'm going to take those two pieces and press M and create a new collection, and I'm going to call this in capital letters. I'm going to call this window. And now all the window parts are there, and I can easily turn it on or off, and that's fine there. Now we're going to do the rocks around that in a bit, but before we do that, let's actually add a bevel to this stuff and then do the side rocks. So with that selected, I'm actually going to use a bevel modifier for now. And so I'm going to choose bevel, so search for bevel. And I'm going to leave it on 1 and change the amount to 0.01. So there's just a small bevel on here. All right. And because I've added that modifier to these, I can select this, hold down Shift, select this, hold down Shift to select that roof, that one, and that one. And then lastly, hold Shift and select that last one. Press Control L for link and choose copy modifiers. And all of these get the modifiers that were on here. So if I had a bunch of them, I could select these and then select this one last, and I could get the modifiers from this. So each of them now has the bevel of clicking on them, and it's all the same bevel. So that's looking kind of cool. And we do that so that it breaks up the light, because in reality, no edge is perfectly straight, and it'll make it look nicer. So save our work. I'm not going to mirror this or move it yet to this because we still have to do the rocks. So let's just work on some of this and see what we can do. Let's go into wireframe and press Shift A, Mesh Cube. And it's a little hard to see, so select it and G and S to scale. Just scale it down and then press G. Start dragging it over and get the approximate size. I'm just going to push it like that. And then I'm going to press 1 for vertex selection and grab it, pull it up to about there, and take these and pull it into about there. Let's just look at this for a second. Select it and press the period key to focus on it. And, okay, I may move it back in so that it looks sort of equal here and here. And it comes back a ways. I think that we're roughly okay. And so I'm going to, let's add the bevel that's on this or whatever. So select it, then select that, Control L, copy modifiers, and we'll have that. And that might be too much, so you could change this 0.005. You could try that, and just a small bevel. Now, I'm not shading smooth at this point. I can, and it will start to look better, but we may get some errors. But we're going to be joining this stuff soon, so let's not bother with that. Let's keep it shaded flat for now. Okay, so I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to then, let's see, let's go into edit mode. Let's Shift D to duplicate it, pull it down here, and then very carefully press B, box select, and do this. Make sure you're in edit mode. I may come out a little bit wider. Make sure you're in edit mode when you grab that. So I've got those two. We'll see if I want them a little closer together. I feel like I do. I feel like I need to grab these and just pull them up. Just have them a little closer in there. All right, so now I can probably select both of those, Shift D to duplicate and pull them down, and just sort of line them up the way I think they should be. I don't want too many gaps. And I'm just going to repeat that again. I can't exactly see there, but I can see some stuff on this side. So I'm just going to Shift D to duplicate, pull these down like this. And I'm close to the bottom. I'm not quite there yet, but I won't worry because we may extend these a little bit. So, do I like that, or do I want it up here doing that? I don't think I do. I think we're probably going to go with that. And, yeah. And, all right, we have a problem here. And that is, let's find an image here. You can see on the side that they're not all the same distances back. The bigger one is shorter in the back. All right. So this one doesn't extend as far back. So let's work on that here. Can't really do it with the diagram. So I'm going to press Control 3 to look from the side. Go into edit mode and wireframe. And just carefully come in here. I probably should have done this before I copied them. You only want to get the vertices of this one. And I'm going to pull that in about halfway. And then it doesn't matter if they're not exact. They probably shouldn't be. So don't worry if one is just slightly different than the other. It's like I say, it's probably a good thing. So I'm just going to do that. Let's just have a look at that. Okay, so now we have this. Yeah, okay. Alrighty. Yeah. So that should all be one thing now. So I'm going to take that, Shift D to duplicate. I'm just going to start pulling it over. I'm going to go into edit mode. And how do I want to do this? I think I want to rotate this around the Y, RY at 180. And now I have that. And I'm just going to pull that and then just try to find a position that I think looks right. Looking at this and having a similar distance here and here or so, just a little bit more. Not that critical, but yeah, or maybe I could look down here. But I think that's probably okay there. Alright, so if that's the case, I'm going to now take this one here, Shift D to duplicate and pull it down here. and you by eye kind of get it in where we think it should be. I'm going to press GX to just maneuver it into what I think is an okay position. I could see it cutting the wall here kind of in half, so that's probably okay. And then I'll take this one, Shift D to duplicate, and do the same on this side. Yeah, okay, GX. So I'm going roughly in the middle of these. Let's save that. All right, so far it's coming along pretty good. I think we're being relatively true to the diagram. So now what I want to do, and I'll probably finish up on this, is do these rocks here. And the way I thought I would do that is, how do we want to do that? Well, there's a couple of different ways, but what I think we're going to try is select this face in face selection. And press Control and select that face. No, that didn't work. Let's do it this way. Select this face, come up a little further, and choose any one of these, and Control click, and that will continue. As I press Control and click, it extends down, and do it to that one. Let's take that, Shift D to duplicate, just pull it out of the way, P to break it out. All right, so we're going to use this to make our rocks. And what I'd like to do is just have a look at the reference for a moment. These ones are pretty easy to do, and then there's like about 4 other ones on the side. So let's have a look at what we've got here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to Control R and roll up 4 times, is it? 4 times. So that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, well, whatever. 4 times, we'll do 1, just choose 3. Let's try 3. 3 times. That gives me this, 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 and this. Let's do that on the other side as well. 1, 2, 3 times. All right, so what are we going to do with this? Okay, we're looking at it here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press E and left click and Alt S, hold Shift and push till I get to the approximate outer boundary of these rocks. Now this is not going to line up perfectly, but we're going to play around with it. So let's deselect for the moment. Let's border select both of these and pull them up to around that middle point. Let's border select these, pull them up to there. I might need another edge. I can do that up to there. I think I do. So let's drop an edge loop there, and on the other side, same position. Grab these, pull them to about there. So that'll define those. Now these ones we're just going to have to hope this one is close, this one is close, and then we have this stuff in the middle. So we're just going to go ahead and use this. Okay, now, yeah. I want to focus on this, and I want to come down here, and I may want to get rid of these bottoms. I'm going to go ahead and delete those faces for now. And I'm going to Shift Alt and click these back ones. And I'm going to give it a little bit more thickness, so like as if these are rocks. Not too much, but whatever. And I'm going to get rid of that because we copied it from this stuff. It's got that modifier. In fact, I can get rid of that as well. I don't know. Yeah, and then maybe we'll select it as shade flat, just like that. Okay, so let's go back into bring everything back. Sorry, slash key. Look from the front, and it's not lined up or anything yet. Let's come in here and press 2 for edge selection. And let's do it this way. Let's try Shift and Alt and click. We're close to where you see a black. I'm holding Shift and Alt, a black line. So I'm going to do those ones. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and there's one down there. I think I've got them all. Let's just look. So this is what I've got selected. Okay. All right, I am going to press Control B, hold Shift, pull, and roll back to 2. So I just have an edge like that and that. So I'm going to go X faces. Now they're all pieces like that. Let's just focus on this slash key. Now I'm going to come in here, select it in edit mode, and press 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt and click F to make a face. Shift Alt to click F to make a face. And we're going to have to go around and fill all these in. So I'm just going Shift Alt to click and F, Shift Alt to click F, F, and we'll see. And hopefully the gap's not too big. This is a little bit of a cartoon house. Now let's do all of these. I deleted the bottoms and I was hoping to not, but let's go ahead and actually fill them back in as separate pieces. So Shift Alt and click and F for all of these, and then we'll see if this was a good way of doing it or not. We will have to actually get rid of the backs. So give me a second here. We're almost done. And yeah, all these. And that. And what's going on here? That one's done. Okay, let's merge M by distance just in case. Okay, nothing to get rid of. How's this doing? All blue. Okay. We're going to get rid of the backs. Press Control 3 to look from the side. Go into wireframe. Press 3 for face selection and border select just this back area here. That'll select the back faces. I'll go into solid view so you can see we've selected them. X faces. We just don't need them. Alright, let's come over here and let's try adding this bevel. But we'll go down to 0.01 and we'll shade smooth. And then we'll add this weighted normal and normal's auto smooth. And we'll have this slash key to bring that back. And let's take this and slide it back in and just figure out where it's supposed to go. Now there is something that I haven't done yet, and it's roughly almost flush with that, but maybe overlapping it just a little bit. The one other thing we need to do is adjust some of the sizes of these. So I'm going to come back in to this, and I'm going to turn off the bevel for the time being, just hide it, so I can in wireframe border select these. Actually, yeah, it's a little tight, but we're going to get those, and I'm going to pull them in like that. And again, if they're not exactly the same, that's totally fine. It might look a little bit more organic, but I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll take this one and pull it in a little bit. I'm not going to worry about the other ones being perfectly on or not. I could take this. It probably does look relatively good if it's symmetrical. I'm just going to try pulling that one out. And then I can grab this. And maybe I will pull some other ones out. Let's just see what that looks like with the bevel back on. You could bend these and stuff, but we're going to put a stone texture on, so I think it'll be okay. Yeah, I kind of think that I do want maybe this one, and just got the bevel on, coming out a little bit more matching that one. You could mirror it as well, but I'm not going to bother with that. All right, so with that done, this has no bevel on it, but I want to attach this and this together. So I'm going to apply the bevel on the stones, and then I'm going to join it here. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to press M, merge by distance, just in case. There's nothing to get rid of. I'm going to check my face orientation. It's good. This is now my window. Do I have my pane in there? Let me double check. That's my pane. I'm going to join that to this as well, just so it's all one piece. All right, good. Double check all that once again. All right, so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to Shift D to duplicate it, and I'm just going to move it. And I can use my Z arrow. I was actually when I'm zoomed out, you can see that it's pretty much in the middle of that, and that's okay. like that. So we have that done. All right, we're getting there. All right, we'll do one other quick piece, which is going to be this patio door or whatever. To do that, I'm going to select this plane here in face selection, Shift D to duplicate, pull it out, P to break it out, just because it's in the vicinity. Go into edit mode and wireframe and S to scale. And as long as one edge lines up, that's fine. SX, and this edge is lined up, this one isn't, so I'm going to take this and pull it in. We're going to build this and then we're going to decide if it fits our model, if it's the right size. So I'm just going to pull it down to about there, and I'm going to pull that back and just get a sense of if it's in the middle. It's pretty darn close, so let's see what it is we need to do on this. I'm just going to make like a frame inside a frame. Okay, yeah, let's give it a try. It won't be exactly, but we're going to do this. Okay, press I to inset and pull it in a little bit like this. Go into solid mode. Whoops, I lost that. So select that face again. Extrude it back just a little bit, not too much. Go back into wireframe. Press I to inset with that middle one selected. Now there's a bevel. I'm just going to turn it off because it's getting a little distracting. And I'm going to extrude again back, and then I'm going to X faces, delete that face. So I've got on like this frame. But I'm going to press 2 for edge selection and Shift Alt and click this outer edge and E to extrude. So we need to give the whole thing some thickness like that. I don't want this bevel. I'm going to bevel this by hand, and I'll do that in just a moment. We now need this cross piece, very similar to that. And to do this, let's do this a little bit of an easier way. Let's come in here and press 3 for face selection and select that face. And go into wireframe and Shift D to duplicate, pull it out to here, and press E to extrude and slide it over to here to get the approximate thickness of that. And we have this. I'm going to focus just on that with the slash key and come around to the back, and you'll notice that there are some extra faces. This face right here we're going to delete. This one right here, I just want to be able to select the right one, and I may have some trouble here. So what I'm going to do is just select that face and delete it. And I'm going to come down in the inside here, select that face and delete it. Now I'm going to bevel this, but I may decide to move this back. I don't want it exactly the same position. I'm just going to move it back a little bit so that there's a little bit of distance between this piece and the frame. 2 for edge selection, select here and here, Control B and pull and roll back if you want. I want 3 edges in there. Now Shift Alt and click this corner edge, Shift Alt and click this corner. Do that on all 4 corners, Shift Alt and click, Shift Alt and click. Control B, hold Shift and pull and give it a little bit of curving. Shift Alt and click this edge, and this edge, and they should all go around. Okay. Control B, pull, give it a little bit of a bevel. Okay, if you have to take your finger off Shift if it's going too slow. Give it a bit of a bevel. We're also going to need to do this edge. Shift Alt and click that edge, or else we'll have shading problems. Give that a bit of a bevel as well. Something like that. And we don't have to do anything with the back because, you know, it's cut off. Okay, I can shade smooth this, and any shading errors will fix. Let's just look and see if it's flipped. The middle one is, so select it all, Alt N, recalculate outside. Again, you have to check that periodically. Slash key, and we're going to need a frame in here, so before we actually bring that back, slash key again, let's just take Shift Alt and click this inner part here, and we can duplicate it, P to break it out, take this, F to make a face. We could do it with curved, or we could just do a flat plane, but it doesn't really matter. Just push that in where you think you'd want that. Maybe around there or something. And just check that it's not flipped. If it's red, no it's not. And I'm going to go ahead and join it. And we'll have that. Okay, slash key, take this whole thing, this door thing, slide it back and push it on, make sure it makes contact. And we have that. And at this point, I'm going to hide that. And let's say these are windows. I want to take all these. I'll probably join various things later, but I'm going to take that and make a new collection. Call that rocks. We'll call it rocks for now. Okay, so we got rocks, and then this is going to be door. I think we might as well call it door. I don't know exactly what it is. Door. And what else have we got? What's this? That's the house. All right, let's take that, and even the roof for now. We'll put all those in a collection. We'll call that house. And let's see. That's the house, door, rocks, window, and of course the empty. Okay, I'm going to come in, select it all. M, merge by distance. I haven't got rid of any. I had no stray vertices. Means I'm being a good boy. Okay, we can take this. We can turn on the shadow just to see. It gives a little bit more life. I mean, without texture here, this looks pretty bland, but that's what we have so far. So hopefully you can get to that point, and you think it looks okay. We've got bevels on there. We have a little bit of correction of shading by adding here, and I haven't done it yet for this part. The weighted normals and the normals auto smooth, and it may or may not have much of an effect, but we've done, I think, a pretty decent job, and we've been getting rid of back faces as well. So we'll carry on in the next video. Please let me know how it's going. Send me some images, any problems, and hope you're getting a good result.